To your question, I was referring to was a lot of Western nations that are telling South Africa and South Africans to stick to using only renewables. They should back away from using coal. They should not use natural gas, and they should not get involved in an energy mix to power South Africa and fix this issue. We need abundant energy and affordable energy right now in South Africa. So the idea by some Western nations saying we should reduce consumption. How do you tell somebody with 8-9 hours of load shedding to reduce consumption? We need energy additions. So if you have natural gas, if you have coal, and you can use that in a cost-effective way and power South Africa right now and build industries and get people back to working again, that is what we need to be focused on. Don't forget, South Africa's greenhouse gas emissions are very, very low compared to most Western countries. So those Western countries that are telling South Africa to decarbonize, they need to decarbonize, and South Africa and other African countries need to industrialize.
And Joe, we were speaking with a security expert on the use of soft and hard power following the slew of diplomatic missions or visits to South Africa by some of these Western powers. And we know what you're saying is indeed important and true, particularly if we're saying we are pursuing a just energy transition. And just energy transition isn't necessarily just about renewables, but I'm just wondering, because a lot of these people are investors who, whether they outright say it or not, are demanding certain actions on climate change if they support what we would like them to do. So how do you navigate this space?
The investors, when they meet with me in private, they support driving up gas, they support moving up with coal, they support a more than 5 billion potential of Total Energies doing gas and passing through Mossel Bay and do GTL. But what we must do, we must be good stewards of the environment. We have to find ways to drive up this energy in a friendly, sustainable way. We're not against sustainable production of natural gas, because that's exactly what the wealthy nations are doing. We're just copying from them. We're not against using carbon capture to clean up coal mines and be able to suck up any kind of carbon in the air so we can produce that coal in a cleaner, better way to power South Africa. But also, we're not against a transition. You have to look at this transition. It's on the horizon. It's going to come. So at this moment, we have to produce fossil fuels to solve the problems today, while facing in renewables in the future. You cannot be telling people around South Africa that you need to be driving a Tesla when you have no lights. It doesn't work.
Absolutely. And so I want you to then, let's continue along this idea of strategic reforms, underscoring strategic. So the theme is building energy security today. That's the municipalities expo, the stated outcomes of the conference. So tell us a little bit more about what was identified as strategic and how to go about it, particularly being inclusive.
I was really impressed by the premier. She was very pragmatic. She was inclusive. She had a roadmap on using these times to build something better. I was very impressed by their willingness to cut red tape and open the doors for private sector to come in. A strong recognition that the private sector is going to be part of the solution in driving that. I was impressed by the mayor really putting out some really brilliant ideas to drive that municipality and seeing that this issue gets stopped. There was a big population of businesses and investors with with different ideas, but one of the key things you could take out is that you have a government in KZN that is listening, you have a city that is listening, and I think the arrogance of the past from government has stopped. They want solutions, and I think just that open mind of them wanting solutions, it is something that I find very positive from the KZN government. Now we need to meet them with private sector action, private sector financing, and really trying to deal with issues today, because a lot of jobs are being lost. A lot of small businesses are closing up. And if we don't do that, the tax base is going to shrink and shrink further, and it's going to affect a lot of poor people in KZN. So I'm impressed by what the government is trying to do there. We'll keep our tabs on them, and definitely I'll be going back to see the premier and the mayor and ensure that we give them that maximum support to drive up energy.
And this roadmap, does it talk to the uncertain future of crude oil refineries in the South Durban Basin, because I believe that they are a major economic impediment to revenue generation?
That Durban corridor is the most unused, unexplored area. If you really take that Durban corridor and look at with crude oil coming in there, it will make a lot of sense to drive that. But also look at one of the clear things that the Premier and I discussed today was high intention to see that South Africa's first LNG receiving terminal is going to put there. Today, if you want to bring LNG into South Africa, you don't have an LNG receiving terminal. That is really scary. You saw when the crisis happened in Europe, Germany went right out and built 2 LNG terminals to receive LNG from Norway and everywhere in the world because of the crisis with Russia and Ukraine. So South Africa is going to do that. The Premier committed to doing that. And I think a lot of movement around the Durban corridor is really going to build a massive logistic hub. It's going to create more jobs, and it's going to give people hope and opportunities. And that's what they need right now around that corridor. And crude oil is going to be part of that. There's no reason why they should not be using their crude oil, moving crude oil around that area. But we have to also look at refineries and try to produce cleaner fuels, because we need that right now.
And